Hello and welcome. My name's Petra.
And I'm Natasha.
I'm the mom and the grandmom.
And I'm the daughter and the mom.
And together we call ourselves Knit Inc. This is episode 36.
We're still here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience. I know it's like a broken record. It's been a while. So thank you for your patience. And welcome to anyone new and welcome back. If you've been with us before,
welcome.
As ever, we're grateful you're here.
And in case you're wondering what this is about knitting.
Yeah. In case you just stumbled upon us. I don't know. So welcome. Yeah, I think we'll do a quick life catch up and then dive right in. It's been. I think we were going to record in February around the beginning of February, and it's already March 3rd.
Oh yeah, today's
Friday.
February's
a short month.
That's right. It went just like that.
Goes just like that. And it was like the second weekend in February. I was down for your birthday, and we were gonna record, but there was just a lot going on, as happens with a newborn and a quick trip home. Mm-hmm. We didn't end up recording although we had intentions to, and I schlepped everything down.
Oh yes.
But that's okay.
And now I am visiting Natasha, Johnny, and my little grandson Matteo in Cambridge, Massachusetts for a few days at the beginning of March. And Matteo is napping right now. So we have this window of time to record a podcast, and we're pretty excited about it. We have some party in our mailbox to share. Amazing party in our mailbox to share at the end of this episode. So we are going to follow our usual format, which is a little bit haphazard. A quick life catch up, and then we have some FOs, whips.
Sorry, I just realized I didn't look up what I was wearing or anything about it, so I'm going to do that while you do a quick catch up.
What we're wearing as well, but So we last recorded, I think it was Martin Luther King weekend in mid-January here in the United States. And 2 days after that, my whole professional world changed. The last 2 months have been extremely hard. My company that I worked for 28 years went through a massive restructuring, and during that process, my role was quote-unquote eliminated. Luckily, I qualified for early retirement, and I had basically 3.5 weeks notice that I was lurched into retirement.
Basically to wrap up your whole career.
Even though I had been thinking of retiring in 1 or 2 years' time, I sort of envisioned that I would have 6 months or so to clean out my office, go through all my files, organize myself, and get mentally ready and every other which way ready for the move. But that's not how it happened. It was 3.5 weeks. So, I mean, I am definitely one of the fortunate ones where I think I'm going to be completely fine. So this is the end of 3 weeks of me not working full time, and you'd think that I'd have done so much knitting, but of course not. I did go on a trip to Colorado with Anna and a few of my girlfriends, and we had a week skiing, and that was fantastic. What else did I do? Oh, we've also been having some work done in the house on the kitchen, so that's taken up some time. And just a big readjustment to my life. But I now have been visiting up here in Cambridge for 3 days, which has been really nice. So during this time, what I did the most is knit on socks. I knit 5 pairs of socks.
Wow.
Yeah. And I only have 1 pair here.
Okay.
2 pairs. This is my second pair that I've almost finished.
Okay.
So I've been knitting on a lot of socks.
Yeah. Therapeutic knitting.
Therapeutic knitting. So that's me, sort of in a nutshell, what's happened in the last 2 months. How about you, Natasha?
I have not
Natasha.
I have not been traveling, nor have I retired. But yeah, I'm lucky. I'm still on maternity leave. Mateo is about 2.5 months. He's, it's weird, the whole week thing. I think he's almost 12 weeks, but 2.5 months by the calendar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of how
the
calendar works.
Yes, how the calendar works.
So, he got his 2-month shots and he's starting to lift his head. So it's just been fun to see him change. I think, a new parent, you just see so many changes in the first year. Yes. But these first half of the year is just pretty dramatic with them starting to become more alert and all that. So he's been enjoying his knitwear. Bunting that I made him, that was a petite knit pattern. I'll insert a photo of him wearing it. Has been really great for the weather, because the kind of puffy buntings that you can buy that are down or fake down or whatever are really difficult or fleecy, but the ones that are kind of like puffy jackets are tough to get in his car seat and strap him in. This is thin and warm, so you don't have to jam him into anything. And even I've done a carrier once or twice, and even that is easier to get him in that cloth with something knit versus a puffy down thing. And he seems to like it. And the great thing about that is that the way it's made, it has the fold over for the hands and feet. So he's just starting to he's got long legs, this kid. So it's starting to be great now. I can just open up that and have his feet out with some little booties or something, whereas before it was kind of all wrapped in. He's been very lucky to have some hats and knit from people. So I think we, since we've recorded, we got one from Anastasia in Iceland. And I posted a photo of him wearing that on Instagram. He got a hat made from my friend Julia. And then he also just got a hat from a family friend from North Carolina, of Lauren. So, and then, he's quite the knit-worthy little kid.
Yeah, so, and he seems comfy and snuggly in his woolies.
Yeah, so far he hasn't had a reaction to wool on his skin, so...
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, okay, so we've been babbling a little bit, but that's okay. Shall we get into...
What we're wearing.
What we're wearing. Yes. Okay. I'll go.
Okay.
So this, I looked it up. This is my Watayuki, which is my second one. The first one I did was white. And this pattern, I skipped out on some of the design elements of this pattern. I just basically used this as a guide for a raglan in that specific weight. So I bought the pattern, made a white sweater. This I used as a guide. So this yarn is Lana Grassa Peru tweed. So it's got some gold and red flecks.
It has quite a lot of
copper.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually have some of this yarn to make a sweater. It's reminding me I need to make myself a sweater. It's really nice and light.
Yeah.
Does it feel warm though?
It is.
It's one of these light, warm sweaters. Yeah.
Knit on size 8, 5mm needles. I didn't do this side
panel,
I guess, design element, because I feel with darker sweaters you don't see it as much, but the pattern has, let me see if I can find a picture. You can see how there's this sort of increase and then some reverse stockinette in this section, but I did do the this style ribbing and the mock neck sort of style, and I can fit into my sweaters again. I'm wearing mostly looser ones. I had to switch for nursing and things like that, but if I don't have to nurse for 3 hours, I can wear a sweater.
That's nice, Natasha.
Yeah, so that's been good. So I have broken into some of my hand knits.
Cool.
What are you wearing?
I am wearing the Wild Posey by Melody Hoffman that I think I was working on last time we recorded, and I was close to finishing. So it's a circular yoke sweater, top down, with this texture at the top, and it's knitted in yarn, which is the unspun roving that I've been obsessed with. I held two strands, and the color is Snow, SNO. It's basically sort of like an off-white, natural white color. So it's 2 strands of knitted in and 1 strand of lace weight alpaca Titicaca by Holst. And I use US size 10 needles, which I think is 6 millimeters, isn't it? US 10, 6 millimeters.
Hold on,
we should know this by now. So it was
correct.
Yay. So it was a really a pretty quick knit once I actually spent time on it, and I made quite big cuffs. There's a little bit of slip stitches here. I knitted exactly to pattern, size 2 or 2.5, I think. And
are they half sizes?
Size 1, 2 for the sweater. Size 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You said 2, 2.5.
Yeah, because sorry, that's my own speak. I should explain that.
Yeah. You're like, I knitted exactly to pattern size 2.5, and I'm like, there's a half pattern or half size in the pattern.
So I was between sizes.
Okay.
So
it wasn't.
So it wasn't exactly to pattern rate. But I basically knit mostly to 2, but then I increased a little bit because I wanted it a little bit roomier here. When I got to the point of separating for sleeves and so on, and I tried it on here, I thought that I needed a little bit more width. Yeah. And then there's no shaping, it's just straight.
Yeah, great. It's nice when there's a light yarn to show off the pattern, and I think
you can see all
the lace that you hold
textures.
with it gives it a nice I don't know, sheen.
Yeah, maybe it does. It gives it a little bit of depth. So
yeah,
I wore this for traveling, which is really, in hindsight, wearing a white sweater for traveling a little crazy. On the airplane, flying back and forth from Colorado with a pit stop in Chicago to help Anna move.
Just a casual pit stop to move.
But it's so warm. It was really great to have in the mountains. It's warm and it's light. Yeah. It did pill. I have de-pilled it twice, and I de-pilled it a little bit this morning. But it's very easy to de-pill. I'm just going to show you some of the pills. So this is what I pulled out. This could be stuffing. We're hoping to make some felted balls for Matteo this afternoon. I'm looking forward to that. So that's my FO, and it's also what I'm wearing. And I'm just going to add right now that I did knit 2 pairs of the Kura socks in knitted in yarn. I just used some bits and pieces that I had, and I did some marling. So I held 2 strands of knitted in, and I did some marling. I've given them away. For some of my colleagues that I was really close to, I left a pair of socks on their desks on my last day at work.
That's so nice.
And 2 of them were the Kura socks and I had to write notes on how to take care of them. I said, I'm giving you some high maintenance socks. So I hope they enjoy them.
Yeah.
So I don't have them to show you, but Natasha, you'll insert a picture.
Sure, yeah.
And I do want to make a pair for myself. I actually really enjoyed knitting the socks from Knitted In.
Yeah. Are they the kind of socks that people would wear like over other socks as slippers?
I mean, you could definitely wear them as slippers, or you just wear them, around the house in the evening when you put your feet up. Yeah. And I think they'll felt a little bit, and they'll get nice and sturdy and warm. Yeah. So I want to make a pair for myself. So that's what I'm wearing. So do you have sort of an FO?
Yeah, and that's as close as an FO as I'm gonna get
today, at least.
Yeah. I am finding knitting time, but sometimes it's 10 minutes and that's it. So progress is slow, but progress is being made.
Yeah.
So definitely a slower churn out of projects, but we're getting there. Okay, so last time I had talked about how I was gonna extend the length of John's sweater Thank you, everyone, for your advice there. I think a lot of people mentioned, cutting out the ribbing and then knitting stockinette in the round, and then doing the ribbing in the round. So that's what I did. So I had 2 skeins, and what I did is I think I took a picture. I think I took one progress photo where I thread in some waste yarn right above the ribbing, and then cut that off rather than unraveling from the sweater. So then it was easier. The live stitches were on waste yarn once I cut off, and then I put that on needles and started knitting. And I did helical knitting with the old yarn from the ribbing and the new yarn. It was a little bit of a pain because I had done a tubular bind on, cast on.
Okay.
So I kind of just cut that off. So I didn't save like every single scrap, but I reused it. And there definitely was because this was knit bottom up, and then when I was knitting top down.
Yes.
There was definitely a line, and I think it shows up more on camera, but it's right around here.
Oh, I see.
And it was pretty obvious before blocking it. Also, doesn't it look more tweedy?
It does.
Which is
the
interesting.
lower half.
I don't know, like
It really does look more tweedy.
The
yes.
color of the brown actually, because it's machine dyed, and it's 2 years, maybe even 3 years. I think I bought this in 2019, maybe 2018. The brown is just fine.
Yes.
But it's almost like the new yarn had more tweed.
Mm-hmm.
Or, what could have happened, John's worn it, maybe some of the tweed has just fallen off with wear. So anyway, I was really happy with how it blocked the line, because I was really worried about, there was like quite a visible line. And John was like, at first he was like, it was fine. And then I was like, I don't know, this is fine. So I actually did block it before I did the ribbing. And the line looked better.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to keep going and do the ribbing. And so then I did what I needed an extra 3 inches. So I ended up knitting 5 inches. I did 3 inches of
the body
stockinette, and then a 2-inch rib. And he's very happy with it. And I was able to re-put the tag on.
Oh, lovely.
And when I did the tubular bind off again,
mm-hmm.
I measured it, 10 inches left of my yarn.
Wow.
And of using exactly 1 skein. So I have 1 untouched skein from what I bought, because I was able, I think it probably included, I think it was probably like 1 3/4 skein, but I was able to reuse 2 inches from the ribbing.
To do the helical knitting, to make it smoother, the transition.
Yeah.
That's really great,
So
Natasha.
he's happy with it.
Has he
He's
worn it?
worn it. And also I finished it, and then between finishing it and blocking it for a final was maybe like 2 weeks. And during those 2 weeks, for some reason, I just couldn't get around to blocking it. I was like, I need to reblock it again, because I had to sew up some of the sides,
the seams,
which is like, it ended up being completely fine, where there's the seam and then the round. I'm stretching it so you can kind of see, but if it's not stretched, you really can't tell. So I just had those finishing touches and all the ends because of the helical knitting. There was a bunch of ends. And he must have asked me like every other day, is the sweater ready? Is the sweater ready? And I think he's worn it like at least 3 times since I finished it. So he really likes wearing this sweater.
Oh, that's great.
So that's great.
It's beautiful. It's definitely worth the effort. So
yeah. And the pattern, it's called Tweety Sweater. And it's by an Italian designer. So, and it was Knit Picks. So,
it was Knit Picks, yeah.
Yeah, so that is a re-FO.
And sometimes it's so hard to just redo these older projects versus starting something new. I have a whole pile at home, a basket of things that need some...
Especially if they're for someone else. You know what? I think I was more prone to do it for someone else than myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, you wanted to talk about this defo?
Oh yes, one of the 5 pairs of socks that I finished was a second pair of socks.
And just to show that you're not showing the same ones, here's the other set.
So we talked about this before. Natasha bought me this Advent skein for Christmas, and I made myself the Advent socks during Advent. But there was enough yarn on this to make a complete full pair of socks.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Which really is awesome.
And they're long socks. I feel like if you did...
Yeah, they are long socks.
If you did, if you didn't do the whole 25 thing, I know that's not the point of it, but that amount of yarn, if you only did them to here, I bet you could get...
You could get 3 pairs of socks.
3 pairs of socks, especially if you did a wider brim or whatever.
Cuff,
whatever.
So this one skein was actually 120 grams. It's 120 grams.
Oh, so that's why.
Yeah.
Not every...
So it is expensive, these 24 stripe socks. 24 stripe balls of yarn, sock weight yarn. But obviously it's a lot of work to dye the 24 stripes.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. So now we have matchy socks. I made Natasha's. Natasha's are...
You said 4 stitches.
60 stitches wide, and mine are 64 stitches wide. Your feet are a little smaller than mine. And you tried them on yesterday and you said they felt really good.
Yeah, I'm recently... You've made me a pair of... what were those pink ones? Those pink and purple socks?
Oh, that's like... Session Maya commercial sock yarn.
But I found that itchy on my feet.
The commercial sock yarn that's 25% nylon, 75%, or Regia, I would say.
Regia. Yeah. I was finding that bothersome, and I left you that pair of socks because I wore them when I was home that weekend in February, and they were just bothering me. Wool doesn't bother me at top, but for some reason, I don't know, feet sweat, I don't know, I just wasn't finding them comfortable. So these are superwash, and these are softer, and
they are really soft.
They feel really good on my feet. So a little slippery, but feel good. Do you have any other FOs?
No, that's it.
Wow.
Just the 3 other pairs of socks that I'm not showing here that I finished.
That's still a lot, though.
That's it.
Okay.
Not even anything for my grandson.
I know, I haven't did anything for him. But that's okay.
He's fine.
He's wearing stuff. We don't need to be constantly... He can't get too spoiled in his first winter, He's going to have some high expectations.
And spring is coming.
Spring is coming, and he has some lighter cotton cardigans already for spring, so he's good. He's good.
Okay, let's move on to works in progress.
Okie dokie. So, I've kind of gone under the mentality of like a focus project, whereas I could easily work on multiple things and switch back and forth. I kind of just need to work on one thing. So right now, when I finished John's sweater, I went back to my cardigan, and I think I mentioned that I wanted cardigans for flexibility with nursing and everything. So this is the Good Grandpa cardigan by Kadri. And I had mentioned last time I was at the point where I was worried I was going to run out of yarn in this green. So I had 3 balls left, and I still needed to do length on the body, the button band, and finish maybe 4 inches of the sleeve. So I had started contacting people on Ravelry, blah, blah, blah. A couple people got back to me. I ended up going with a really nice lady who sold me 4 balls. And I opened the package, and it's a different color. And I was like, how
did this happen?
This is obviously not the kind lady on Ravelry's fault. I was just probably at 3 a.m. while breastfeeding, sending off Ravelry messages to people, panicking, asking, hey, do you, can I, this isn't listed for sale, but I'd love to buy it from you. 4 balls would be just what I need. Pay for shipping, pay for the yarn, blah, blah, blah. So I opened this, I was like, ugh. And it's not, you know, if you put the black and white filter on this, it would look the same. Like, it's
same
not a
tone.
contrast. So I was like, oh, is this going to look like a mistake bringing this in? How do I incorporate this? I don't want it to look, you know, I'm a big fan of color blocking, but I don't want it to look like messy. Like, I don't, you know, so, you know, the way, so when you have a button band, you know, you cast off the rib, and then you pick up for the button band, and I didn't want like this rib to be one color and then the button band to be another color and have this kind of weird color change for these bottom 2 inches where it wasn't the same. I just didn't want that. That could be a look. I also didn't want to, it just wasn't like contrasty enough for me to feel good about the color blocking. So I was just like, all right, let me just use my 3 balls and keep going and see what happens. Well, I did the length on the body, which I'm happy with. It's a good length that I'm happy with.
It's not exactly cropped. It's a little bit longer than cropped.
Longer than cropped, but not
super
too
long.
Yeah, the pattern is cropped.
Okay. Did you make it longer than the pattern?
I made it longer than the pattern. Okay. Did the button band, you know, have my 3 holes ready to go. Did a tubular or Italian bind off.
Wow.
1 by 1.
Sorry to interrupt. I've never done an Italian bind off.
I think Italian bind off is the same as a tubular bind off.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I just
the Italians were first.
When I see Italian bind off, I do a tubular bind off. I don't know if it makes a difference if it's 1 by 1 or 2 by 1 or whatever. But I did twisted rib. I like twisted rib for 1 by 1. Mm-hmm. So, and these were knit flat, so I had to do the twisted purl stitch, which I didn't always remember, but it came out fine. So guys, I am now back to my sleeves, and I am working on the ribbing, and guess what? I'm gonna have plenty of green yarn. I was like, I need 4 more balls. I was panicking, and I'm going to have extra of the green. I'm not even going to need to touch. Oh, I did buy 4. Oh, I'm not even going to need to touch these 4 balls that I bought.
Wow. What are you going to do with them?
I know. So now I'm like, okay, I have to figure out what to do with these 4 balls.
So that's 200 grams.
Yeah.
Make something for Matteo.
Yeah. So, and I do like the color. The pattern does have pockets, and if I were to do the pockets, I would need to do that. So what I'm going to do is just finish it, sew on the button or block it, sew on the buttons, and then decide if I want the pockets or not. It is nice to have a place to put my phone if my pants I'm wearing aren't, because I'm like recording feedings and napping and all that on my phone, and it's just helpful to have a place to put that when I'm carrying Matteo. I don't want to carry, blah blah blah. So the pockets might be handy, but I don't know. Maybe I do the pockets in the blue. I'm not sure. I'll have a think. I'm not sure if would like that, or if I'm gonna think it's necessary. But I just want to wear the damn thing. So,
so close. You're
close.
You're gonna finish it within the next. Well, maybe even today.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. So that is my
almost FO.
Almost FO.
That's great, Natasha. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're just gonna take a break because I've got to check on the little dude.
Okay.
But. We'll
be back. Okay, great. All right, we're taking a break in our whips.
Yes, a whip break. Someone has woken up from his nap, had some brunch, and been forced to put on a bunch of knitwear.
Like you do.
Yes, so this is a hat from a friend, Lauren. It's a little big for him, but it's definitely still wearable and will be great for next year too, and it's super soft. So that's beautiful.
Cute.
Then his booties, which I made in the fall, winter, I don't know, at some point. These are the LL Bean bean boots. Quince & Co yarn, Quince & Co pattern. I talked about them before. And then this cardigan you actually made for a baby who is now 9. Milo, I think, is 9.
I think so.
Yeah.
It was one of my first. It's a Elizabeth Zimmerman baby surprise jacket.
Yeah, and
in sock yarn. It's just made in striping sock yarn. Probably Probably a Reggie, and I made the buttons.
We gotta bring you a little
Can't
closer
see.
so you can see, people can see the buttons. You can see.
They are just so camouflaged in there. Yeah, it was a YouTube. They're little crocheted buttons that I made. He's getting little baby Mateo's getting hot and ill as well.
Yeah. So it's been Becca is the mom of Milo, and she gave it back to us to wear. She wore it with her. She had a second boy who was about a year named Cosmo, and he wore it for a little bit too. So it's great to have a knit passed on. It's sweet that she kept it for all those years.
Yeah.
And I have definitely found, and I will remember this, as cute as sweaters are and how fun they are to make, cardigans are so much easier
For babies.
for babies. They're so squirmy. They hate things going over their heads, don't you? You want to look at the people? Look at the people? No, I don't know what you're looking at over there. Mateo, hi. You gonna come over here? What's that? Yeah, so keeping that in mind for future baby knits, it just makes it so much easier to take on and off, especially when they're this age and you're doing sometimes double digits of diaper changes in 24 hours. So it's just nice to have something easy to put on. Like the vertebrae is also a great baby pattern. But yeah, just wanted to say hi. He's gonna do a little playtime, and then back to napping, hopefully.
And we're gonna go for a walk this afternoon.
Yeah, one more nap and then a walk.
It's a nice sunny day here in Massachusetts today.
So, yes.
Okay. Nice.
Say bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's take some clothes off because I don't want you to overheat.
So we're on to whips now.
Continuing whips.
Continuing whips.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm continuing my whip parade with my Lento sweater.
Oh my god, I'm obsessed with this.
I just started it at our last podcast. It's a little bit crinkly because it's been squished in my bag, but it's the Lento. We've got the label.
Oh yeah.
Lento sweater, which it's a raglan sweater by Jonna
Or Hana. Hitala.
So it's a raglan sweater that's knit at a very loose gauge. Did I say raglan sweater? And I'm holding Holst Super Soft. Where is the Holst? Oh, there it is. Yep. In gosh, I've forgotten the colorway. It's either crocus or something like that. It's a flower. Iris, maybe.
It's really nice. It's got it's kind of heathered with blue and purple in it. Like a lavender and a periwinkle, I would say.
Yeah, and I do have a cone, but because I'm doing helical knitting, I wound some off, and also because I took it with me on the last trip. And I am using this beautiful mohair from Stranded Dye Works by Jude that I'd had in my stash for a while. I wound one Holst and lace weights together.
Okay.
I can't remember now why
These
I
two
did
yarns
that.
together are just absolutely beautiful.
I know they work so well. I think the reason I wound this together is because with the helical knitting I had 4 balls of yarn.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I get tangled up easily anyway, and this was just slightly out of control.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably helpful.
Yeah, so I split for the sleeves. There's some nice short rows, and the neck is a folded over. It's just folded over, and then you catch it. It's 1 by 1 rib. I didn't do twisted rib or anything. So I'm really enjoying this knit. It's just really straightforward right now, round and round helical knitting. So this knit along was hosted by Amy Pelko, she has a lovely podcast called The Meaningful Stitch, and Rebecca from the Crea Brea podcast. I have a feeling that this knit along may have ended March 1st.
Or February 28th.
Or February 28th. And Rebecca, I mean, she's just such a fast knitter. The last time I saw her podcast, she was on her second Lento. And I'm not sure how many Amy had knit, but it's just such a great, easy knit. And if I didn't mention it before, it's knit at a very loose gauge. I'm using US 10 6mm needles.
Nice.
So yeah,
my cardigan that I'm working on is also the body was on size 10. I'm doing the cuff in size 9, so it's as nice as fingering weight sweaters are. Things go quicker.
Yes, things go quicker.
Yeah.
So I have 2 more whips. Do you have any more whips?
I actually have 2 more whips.
Okay, go ahead then, Natasha.
Okay, so I have mentioned before, and you'll see it again, I'm sure. It's my no purl ribbed blanket.
Oh yes.
I did make progress on this. So last time I was still on the yellow section, and now I've added in.
Wow,
I'm starting the light green and orange. So what's interesting is I didn't talk about this last time. I talked about how I was adding on. I've done like all these different methods with this.
Okay.
I did some picking up of stitches. Like I think it was like a Stephen West way you showed me.
Oh yeah.
When I wanted to extend the width. Then I've also tried like another method over here, and now I'm doing intarsia. When I was in Vermont.
Really?
I was in Vermont. Oh, I guess I should say I did travel.
That's right. You guys went to
Vermont. We did a week.
Stowe.
We did a week in Stowe, Vermont with Mateo when he was 6 weeks old. And we also did 2 nights in Connecticut, and we've done 1 night in Rhode Island. So
yeah,
because you're in Connecticut, John's mom and stepdad are in Rhode Island, so we have done some traveling. Anyway, when I was in Vermont, my friend Julia, who knits, was there. She's like, "Oh, are you doing that with intarsia?" And I was like, "No, but I should." Duh. Instead of doing this pickup. So this seam here is where I've started doing intarsia, and it's much neater.
Oh wow.
So I have 7 colors.
Oh yes, that is really neat, Natasha.
In comparison, I mean, this isn't terrible.
No, but you can
see it.
I love the color blocking. I love actually the gray, the 2 grays. Interestingly enough, I like how this works somehow.
Yeah, so I'm just making it up as I go along. I'm going to use the majority. This is all I have left of this light teal. So I'm going to use up the rest of this. Oh no, this is the wrong color. This is all I have left, which is actually quite a bit of this color. So I'm going to do this and see how I go. I'm just making it up.
So you're knitting this one and the orange at the same time, doing intarsia?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the thing is, okay, I'm just going to interject here. You can do intarsia when you're knitting them both together, but here you were adding on, so you can't do intarsia.
Well, I only added on for this coral. And then I did
at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. So
then I was doing these. I knit, and then I did it in pieces. I just knit this vertical. Then I just knit this yellow. Then I just knit I was just knitting the section.
Modular knitting in a way.
Yeah. So the 3 techniques are picking up here and then doing strips or whatever of 1 color at a time, and now I'm doing intarsia. So
well, I think it looks great, and it must be fun to use these colors and just sort of do it as you go along.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna need to add width yet or not. I'm gonna get through these 2 colors, see, and then measure. It's a little deceiving because it is stretchy this way so much more than this way.
Right.
So I have to kind of get an actual width. But it's really nice. It's cotton and yak from Pearl Soho, which was gifted to me, and I'm just I think I'll just, for those who haven't seen it before, the kit that I was gifted is actually was for a specific pattern that Pearl Soho does, where it's just stripes of garter of those 7 colors. But I had done my other one, which is actually right here, and
Mateo uses this a lot.
Yeah.
This is softened up a lot.
I've washed it twice. So it has changed shape a little bit, but it shrunk down vertically. So it's now shorter than it is wide, and it was closer to a square. But it's like slightly felty, but it's super nice and squishy. And what I love about this stitch is it's completely reversible.
Yeah.
I mean, I know garter is reversible too, but I like the texture of this. It has some interest. And when I've been working on this in front of friends, they're like, how do you do that pattern? How do you do those ridges? And I'm like, you just slip one with yarn and back.
It does look, it does
or
really
slip
look
one with yarn in front.
very nice.
Excuse me, you slip one with yarn in front. Knit 3, slip one with yarn in front. Knit 3, slip one with yarn in front. And you offset it. You offset it with the other side, so you have like an odd number of stitches, blah blah blah. It's free on Pearl Soho. So what I'm gonna do is, this won't necessarily be a focus project. I'm gonna finish my cardigan, and while I'm working on figuring out what's next, I'll be working on this.
So just how much more yarn apart from these two do you have left?
Okay.
What colors? Oh, they're okay. That's whoops.
And I have just this tiny bit of yellow left.
Okay.
So I have
that much.
I mean, I could probably do some math about the weight and.
But just go with it. You don't need to use brain space right now for that.
I'm just gonna see how it goes. It's not like it needs to fit, you know. But I'm gonna somehow use all of this.
That's great. So
whether this must be, whether I end up doing a tiny border or whatever the heck I do. So you can hear Matteo playing in the background.
Yeah, he's actually very contentedly playing in his little jungle gym.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I just have one more whip.
Okay, so my other whip is this hedra headband. I'm using Nutiden. I have a sign. Yeah.
Oh, you can. Sorry, it's on a thin piece of paper, and I used the back. But nice. Thank you.
So maybe 2 years ago or so, I made a bunch of these already. It's a really nice sort of textured pattern. Actually, this you can see, because the light is behind us, it's not the best for showing things.
Yeah,
we're a bit back. Oh, that's right. We're a bit backlit, but you can see the pattern. It's a cable. So I'm using 2 strands of Nutiden, no other yarn held with it, and I did wind up two. And now I just broke a strand. Now I just broke both of them. That's okay. That's okay. That's what happens, and you can easily splice it together. So I'm using these 2 strands of pink together. 2 strands
I love
of
how this is
dusky pink.
Heathered.
Yeah, and there's some darker specks of pink in. I'm not sure if you can see. So I did have this whole idea to make everybody a headband on my ski group, but that never happened. I just knitting socks. And this was my first headband. I'm using US size 6 needles, but I think they would be better with US size 7 and make it a little bit stretchier. But yeah, so this, at the rate I'm going, this is going to be for next winter. As for headbands, yeah. But I want to make, so I've got some greens together that I might use for either mittens or another headband. I had ordered this sort of 2 surprise packages of colours from Nutiden, which is why I've got these bits and pieces. Do you want to
say what the surprise packages are?
Yeah, so basically the surprise packages are that you opt in to get 250 grams of an assortment of colours.
Okay, so you don't know how many colours or how much of each colour,
yeah,
but you know how much total.
Exactly, yeah. And I've done that twice. I've added it on when I had a 500 gram sweater quantity, because it's a nice way to sample some of the other colors.
Yeah.
And that's what I used for my socks. So I'm just going to swing into the other Nutiden, which you're going to use to make a cardigan.
Might be nap time soon. We might have another break.
So I had ordered 500 grams of this color. It's called mocha. And I'm giving this to Natasha to make a cardigan. She's got a short list of cardigan patterns.
Yeah, and I think some of you have
suggested some nice patterns. Yeah. Oh, so
sorry for the crinkle there.
Yeah, sorry for the crinkles. So this is mocha unspun. And then I got
the depth of color.
It's amazing, really, isn't it?
It's coming off like a little brown in the photo or video.
But it's really a burgundy.
It's green, but it's definitely a burgundy, yeah.
And then the 250 grams of Nutiden yarn mixed bag that I got. So
squishy. It's squishy. So I don't. You're dealing with all this pilling. I don't want to deal with pilling.
I mean, I think it just happens at the beginning. There's this excess pilling.
It's so delicate.
Yeah, it is, and it's much better to pull from the middle than the outside.
Okay.
So what I find is when you can pull from the middle and it goes really well, you'll get into a rhythm of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
really enjoy
for this.
knitting with it, but it does take a little bit of getting used to how to handle the yarn so that you're not breaking it. But if you do break it, then it's very easy to just splice back together again.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can feel the lanolin. Feel the lanolin in it.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah. So that's my other. That's really it for my whips. I mean, I'm just working on a vanilla pair of socks for one of my friends that was in Colorado, and this is old Malabrigo sock yarn in free range eggs colorway, and she loves free range eggs, which is why I'm making these for her.
That's cute.
So these are almost finished. So that's it for my knitting. Actually, the other thing to talk about is dream knitting, which I haven't quite figured out what my next projects are going to be, and then we have some really nice surprise party in our mailboxes to share.
I have one more whip, and then I've got to put Mateo down for a nap because he is rapidly losing his mind. Okay, so I started the frog that people have been knitting. I've just done the body.
Oh my gosh!
And put the eyes in and stuff. So I have to do the legs, and then it'll look more like a frog. But he's kind of cute. Oops, I dropped him. So this is for Georgie, who's kind of like a niece to me. So she's really into frogs. So I'm excited to give this to her. I just gotta keep going. I think I might need wire for the legs, and I do have some wire in one of my craft boxes. I just have to dig out. But this is one of those projects that I can't do at the end of the day. I need to do this like during a morning nap time or something because it just requires some more concentration of like looking at a pattern row by row, which I can't do after 5 p.m.
Oh, but this is so cute, and I like the yarn. This is yarn that's left over from my advent from Rebecca.
Yeah, I have that all.
The woolly,
all in this bag. Oh, and my grandma, your mom, made this bag that I like using for some small projects. And Hobie is Czech for mushroom. So
I used to keep dried mushrooms in it that my mom dried. Yeah,
I love this embroidery. So I just think this is so cute. And look, the detail of like doing the dark and the light purple, just so nice. And this, it's like really soft.
Oh yeah.
And I actually have washed this because it was a little stained, but I love it for a little project. So
That's great that you're using it, Natasha.
okay, it's time to get this little monster down for a nap. Ooh, say hi again. And then we'll talk about any dream knitting and the wonderful gifts we received over the last couple of months that Mateo hasn't already shown off. We never say what we're drinking, but we're often drinking tea.
Yeah, good.
Some people talk about what they're drinking.
That's true.
Swear word coming up.
Yes.
My sister made this mug for me years ago. So my little sister, Anna, I've always given her a hard time because she just takes sips from other people's drinks all the time, whether it's water, tea, wine, cocktail, like as if it was her own. And there were many times where I would have a drink and then I make myself something and then it's halfway gone. I'm like, I haven't even had a sip yet. Anyway, it occurs whether you're living with her, visiting her place, or she's visiting your place, whatever it is. So she made me this mug, and it says, "Don't touch my effing tea." And I think it's really great.
It is funny. So we are drinking Festivus tea.
Yeah.
That a friend of yours sent you. I don't remember the name of the company.
No, here I am saying, oh, we should talk about what we're drinking.
And we don't even know what we're drinking.
No, it's a black aromatic tea. It's not Earl Grey. It's not English breakfast. It's like a
Christmas
It's
blend.
got some vanilla. And it's nice.
Cinnamon. It's got some of those warm spices in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, cheers.
Cheers. It is nice.
Okay, so let's talk about some really amazing gifts that have been sent to us.
Yes, and since you segued, I want to segue another segue into the Christmas tree. So, in our last episode, we forgot to mention that one of you lovely viewers had told us that you had seen the Christmas tree getting loaded up in Nova Scotia that is sent to Boston, Massachusetts every Christmas, and they put it up into the Boston Commons, and it stems from a thank you to the city of Boston that sent aid to New Brunswick after two ships collided. Gosh, in the
1800s.
In the 1800s, and there were a lot of casualties. So ever since then, a Christmas tree is sent from Canada to Boston, Massachusetts, and we did go and see it. That was Mateo's
first outing, and it was a really, speaking of swear words, a really effing cold day. It was like single-digit Fahrenheit cold, and I think wind chill was. It was after. I think it was Boxing Day.
Yeah.
It was either Boxing Day or Christmas Day.
I think it was Boxing Day that we went.
And there were a lot of tourists there. We heard a lot of people speaking a lot of different languages visiting, which I think makes
Japanese.
sense. Yeah. Maybe you go to a different city for Christmas and you're like in the city versus people who are living there might have gone out. So,
to be with
it was
family.
my first time spending Christmas in Boston, actually, and I started living in Boston in 2006. So,
because you usually come home.
Yeah. So,
and this was
or we've traveled together somewhere.
Yes. So Natasha, please insert a picture of the Christmas tree here. So we did go and see it.
Yeah. So Mateo was 2 weeks old, and it was.
And it's a nice, beautiful
his
Christmas
first trip besides the doctor's appointment in the car. So we drove and then walked around, and it was nice. Yeah.
Okay. Without further ado, happy mail.
Yes. Have we teed it up enough?
So one of you lovely viewers sent us a couple of kits. She subscribes to kits by the designer Helen Magnuson.
And was this from Meryl?
Yes, this is from Meryl. Thank you very much, Meryl. And the kits are, they are just exquisite. It's Helen Magnuson is the Icelandic knitter, and so you can see the kit is this pattern for these beautiful, delicate mittens, and it's in Icelandic wool. And I love the colors.
In my mom's colors.
Yeah. So these are the.
So it's 3 colors.
Yeah, these are the 3 colors.
And it's so nice. The pattern's all printed out in color and everything.
Yeah. So this is definitely a project that I'm looking forward to starting on now that I'm in a much better mental state where I can move on from just knitting vanilla socks.
Like a mad woman.
Like a mad woman, yeah. So these are, and this yarn feels lovely. It's the woolly wool. It's fine. I can feel the lanolin in it. And I think, Meryl, that the dried bouquet of flowers must have come with this kit because there's these flowers, not flowers. It looks like it's some dried herbs that came. Unfortunately, it got crushed in the mail a little bit. I'm going to attempt to show you. But I'm sort of assuming that these came, it's falling apart a little bit, with these mittens.
Yeah, they might have.
Heather and so on.
I'm looking through, and there's some nice stories in here about, it's more than just the pattern. There's some notes about Icelandic, or I don't know, like a child story around Christmas. This must have been around the Christmas time kit. And I'm just realizing that Meryl must have, there's put a little sticky in here. There's a note about Icelandic chocolate for Christmas, and that, what chocolate represents as a Christmas tradition in Iceland. And there's a post-it that says, "I ate the chocolate first thing. You must get some when you go to Iceland." And I love the sticky. And it's a woman with WTF. So I feel like we get along, Meryl.
Yes. But Meryl did send some chocolates for you in case you didn't want to, and we have a few left actually.
Yeah, I will be digging into those. Don't you worry.
So I did save some for Natasha.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And,
but wait, there's more.
There's more. And Mel sent another kit that she got from the same subscription. Oh my gosh, I love this blue. And this is actually for a pair of socks. And this is Icelandic lamb's wool. This wool feels absolutely amazing.
It really does. Blue. And it has an interesting twist to it. It's kind of not like rope, but I feel like it's a high twist for something that feels so rustic.
Yeah. Well, it's lamb's wool. It's Icelandic lamb's wool.
It's really nice, and I love the blue purple is really nice too. So these socks are a little bit more intricate. I mean, those mittens were intricate too. I think these would be a chow. I'm not much of a sock knitter. I don't know why. I just can't really get into it. I've tried a couple times, but these are kind of knit on the bias or on the diagonal.
Yeah.
So my concern with these would be if they would be comfy to knit, because I feel like the tension might be kind of.
You mean to wear?
Oh yeah, comfy to wear.
Yeah. I just love this color blue. It's sort of like a periwinkle lupin blue, and there's lots of interesting things to read in here, like
and maybe this
lupins.
Is. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Yeah.
Maybe this is what the foliage came with, because this one, or that other one was all about Christmas. Oh. This one's all about plant dyeing. Using lupin.
Oh, okay.
So maybe this is what came with that. So I'm just looking through the reading. Maybe. So this is kind of like a blog post and pattern for this kit. So again, it's Helen Magnuson, Icelandic knitter, if you're interested in subscribing to these kits, and we are excited about both of them. So thanks.
So thank you very much. I'm looking forward to knitting these up.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you.
We also got this bag, which I think I'm gonna swipe. I feel like it could be honestly like great for me to have a knitting project and baby things.
Oh yeah, and there's lots of pockets in this.
There's a zip on the outside, and there's these handy things to hook things to, and a couple pockets inside, and it zips up. So I feel like this could be a handy dandy bag for me.
Okay, you can have it. It is a really great bag.
It's like
the fact that it closes completely is great. It'll keep everything safe in there.
Yeah.
Right, Natasha?
It could be handy for me for sure. And then we also want to talk about, this is from Andrea.
This card came from Meryl with the kits, with the
let me just show it.
Kits.
Yeah. I am only fluffy on the outside. Cute, right?
Very cute.
Oh, wait, one more thing about Meryl, because I'm double checking this. Meryl let us know that her great-great-grandfather was born in Stonington, which is my hometown, so that's pretty cool.
And then one of you lovely viewers shares the same birthday as me, and you sweetly sent me a birthday present and something pretty fun for Matteo. So
let me open. I don't know how loud the crinkle will come through, but I will either edit out or you'll manage. Okay, so we've already opened and then we rewrapped.
Yes.
Just to make more crinkle. Okay, so this is the outfit for Matteo. And this is so cute. This is this little tracksuit. Right now it looks huge, but it is little. I think
12 months.
Yeah. So
next year
he'll be rocking this.
How cute is that? I do expect him to be a soccer star.
Yes, he has been he actually got another tracksuit from my cousin who lives in the Manchester, Liverpool area and is an Everton fan. Oh, I got a low battery notification. Hopefully it's still going. And that one I think is like for 18 months or so. So he's going to be decked out in soccer gear.
When we start
football gear. I don't think he's going to play American football.
No.
I'm not going to get into that.
And I just opened, so my birthday present from Andrea is a kit by Casa Pinka to knit this pretty fun cowl. Lots of interesting patterns. Mm-hmm. It's called the Criterion cowl. Criterion. It's known as Easter egg. Oh, so this would be This would be a cool thing to knit around Easter time. It's really bright colors, as you can see. So the kit is in these pink colors, and I just realized, so it's Easter egg in the Sherlock episode, and there's a I am Sherlocked pin. I was trying to figure out where this came in, but now I see where it came in.
And I thought this was cute too. Some Beantown English breakfast tea. Boston is also nicknamed Beantown, so this is fun. So this will get used probably tomorrow morning.
Yes, and the dye here is Team Lady Dye Yarn. These are really beautiful.
Lady Dye Yarns is local to Boston.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
These are the colors.
She might have moved to Providence. I'm pretty sure Lady Dye Yarns.
This looks like a single.
I could be wrong.
2 shades of pink and like a blue-gray. So you've heard of Lady Dye Yarns. I hadn't.
Yeah.
And these really two, handmade by D.K. Graham. This must have been a collaboration. These cute little stitch markers. So look how lucky we are. All this wonderful party in our mailbox.
Wait, also, this was also from Andrea, right?
Yes.
I'm super excited about this. For Mommy and Natasha, it's so sweet. So all 3 of us, Mateo, you, and I, all got a gift. And this is Knit a Square, Create a Cuddly Creature. And I thought that was so cute, from flat to fabulous. So I think, maybe these patterns, you don't have to do a lot of knitting in the round. You make like a square or rectangle, and then the way you fold it makes a little animal. So Theo was a consideration actually for Mateo. For a name, but this is Theo the Triceratops, and it looks like it's in Noro, and I think this might be the first thing I knit from this book. After I finish the frog, this will be my little stuffy thing on the go, because I have Noro, and I think this is so cool.
It is really cute.
So thank you. I'm like super pumped about this. There's some really cute things in here, and they're all named.
And back to the tea, this is, I spaced out when you were reading it, but Beantown Tea and Spices must be from Boston.
Yeah, I said that. Duh. It's okay. You were focusing on the Sherlock.
Yeah.
Look at this funny frog. So I'm gonna make that for Georgie.
And Casapinka is from Rhode Island, I think.
So this is Lady Dye Yarns. She's a Black woman-owned business founded by Diane Ivy, based in Boston. I think I follow her on Instagram.
Oh,
based in Boston, but I do think she recently moved to Providence. But
so this is kind of a local, relatively local to me, New England collaboration. It reads like.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this.
And there's a really nice fun frog in there too.
Yeah, that'll be for Georgie. But I think the Triceratops is first.
Okay.
Is that everything?
One more thing.
Oh, the cardigan that goes with the hat Mateo had on earlier from Lauren. And this will be for next year too. And yay, it's a cardigan. Even when he's this big, it's going to be easier to put him in a cardigan than a pullover.
And I love the buttons. And Lauren, I love all the little details with your really nice
that's
label.
a really nice place to put a tag.
That is a really nice place. I usually put them in the front, but I like the center back. And there's nice handmade by Lauren tag on the inside. Makes the garment look really professional.
Yeah,
and I love the buttons.
And green is totally Mateo's color. And
green and blue.
Green and blue. And and Lauren sent like a little nugget of the yarn for any repairs, and the yarn label, which I thought it was a good idea, especially if you're gifting to a crafty person. They will appreciate having a little of the yarn to make any repairs or anything if needed. So
and then you know really what thoughtful. Yarn was used. Yeah. And I do have one more birthday gift from Sarah, our local friend who is also a knitter, and she is making a gorgeous colorwork sweater right now.
Yeah,
with
is
the
it
birds.
By Boylan Knitworks, Caitlin Hunter?
Yeah, it's a design by Caitlin Hunter
with like eagles or some sort of bird
flying
motif.
Across. Yeah. So I had not heard of this dye before. Fiber Circle Studio, and it's a one-of-a-kind. Oh no, not one-of-a-kind. I thought that was one-of-a-kind, but it's oak barrel. My brain is
we're just doing the best
frizzle.
we can, firing on
Dreamy DK, and this is
not enough cylinders.
Yes, but this is a really, really gorgeous colorway with the aqua and brown. Too. I know they're kind of your colors, Natasha.
Yeah.
Really nice and squishy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's it.
I have no idea how long this is because we've broken it up.
But hopefully it's not going to be more than an hour. We'll put some show notes in. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are all keeping well. I have yet another trip planned. I think it's probably going to be a month or so.
Yeah.
We'll probably be filming towards the end of March.
Yeah.
Hopefully towards the end of March. In about 3 weeks, I hope we'll have another episode. I hope we'll have some more knitting projects.
I hope this will be done. This will definitely be done. And the frog. I hope I'm making a triceratops by then.
Yes.
Things I never thought I'd say. I hope I'm making a triceratops by the end of March.
And I hope I've finished my lento and I've moved on to some other interesting things.
Yeah.
So,
thanks for your patience, everyone.
Thanks for watching, and I hope that you are all able to spend some time doing what brings you joy.
Happy knitting.
Happy knitting. Happy
Bye.
crafting. Bye.